You want to be taken seriously? Stop dressing like a little girl.
Since its premiere in 2007, Matthew Weiner's Mad Men has gained widespread acclaim as one of the best TV dramas of the 21st century. The show has been praised for its compelling storytelling, complex characters, and exquisite costume design that made us romanticize the times when people dressed glamorously every day. However, the costumes in Mad Men often serve a deeper purpose than a mere visual appeal. They often provide a commentary on the social dynamic of the 1960s or offer the character an alternative means of expression. In this video, I'll showcase how Jenny Bryant, through costumes from the first 2 seasons of Mad Men, conveyed the character's emotions and personal growth. Betty Draper is a quintessential 50s housewife. She was raised in the belief that becoming a homemaker was her ultimate goal in life and a source of eternal happiness. However, when we meet her in season 1, she has already achieved that ideal. At 28 years old, she is the mother of 2 children and the wife of a handsome womanizer, yet she herself lacks purpose in life. We see her constantly unsatisfied and bored, just like all the housewives in her neighborhood.
I got my diagnosis the other day. I'm bored.
Fortunately, an opportunity arises that could help Betty escape her situation. As her husband Don gets courted by another advertising agency, she is offered a modeling job. This is when we learn that Betty used to have a professional modeling career before getting married. Betty's career choice makes perfect sense for her character, as everyone in Mad Men is constantly captivated by her beauty.
You're pretty.
You're so beautiful. You look so beautiful in that light.
You are so beautiful.
Thank you.
Betty is often compared to Grace Kelly.
Carlton calls you Grace Kelly.
Oh, look. Princess Grace just swallowed a basketball.
To the point that her character even recreates a scene from Rear Window, and coincidentally Don's associate searches for a Grace Kelly lookalike for a Coca-Cola advertising campaign.
Anybody ever tell you you're a dead ringer for Grace Kelly?
The thought of taking control of her life and returning to work makes Betty visibly happier. In preparation for the audition, she tries on her old modeling costumes that reveal a totally different part of her personality. This mini dress, for example, is way more colorful, playful, and revealing than her more demure usual looks. Unfortunately, we know how Dawn feels about her showing more skin.
You want to be ogled?
Oh, Don. Everybody bought one at the auction.
It's desperate.
So that's probably why she stopped wearing those flirtatious outfits. For her audition, Betty chooses to wear a strapless, New Look-esque gown embellished with a massive pink bow on the front. The camera reveals her in this striking outfit as it pans across a waiting room filled with potential models dressed in everyday woolen suits. Betty's outfit is a visual extension of her mood. One can tell she really wants this job. She really tried to wow everyone with her grace and glamour. As the scene progresses, it becomes evident that when Betty was a model, this look must have been the most fashionable and glamorous at the time, yet now it makes her look dated and overdressed. Of course, at the beginning of the 1960s, many people still wore their clothes from the previous decade, but in this particular scene, the contrast between Betty's and other models' outfits signifies that the world evolves, yet her character is still stuck in the past.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned. Betty Draper, that is indeed how I would describe you.
Betty Draper rarely looks anything less than picture perfect. She will never be caught wearing wrinkled clothes, not a single strand of hair will ever stick out of her exquisite updos, and her lips are always perfectly lined. Even when she lounges at home, you will never catch her in sweatpants, as she's always dressed in soft and feminine peignoirs. According to Betty Draper, the best outfit for releasing anger and frustration is a lace dreamy nightgown. of course. So when we finally see Betty stop caring about keeping up appearances, it's a clear sign of her emotional distress. In the episodes leading to this scene, Betty slowly admits to herself that her happy marriage is just a facade. Throughout the first season of Mad Men, she seems blissfully unaware of Dawn's multiple affairs.
I know everything. What do? I thought you'd know what to do.
Me? Why?
However, when Betty discovers that her husband is in frequent contact with her psychologist, she indirectly confronts him during a therapy session.
It's all there in my face every day. The hotel rooms. Sometimes perfume.
It is unclear if the psychologist ever reveals Betty's confession to Dawn, but we can assume he does. However, it doesn't stop Dawn from being unfaithful, it simply teaches him to cover the evidence more carefully. Betty and Dawn continue to live together as if nothing happened until the comedian Jimmy Barrett reveals to Betty that his wife Bobby and Dawn have an affair.
All I know is I know her and you know him, and there they are, and they don't care where we are.
Roughly a week after this discovery, Betty prepares a perfect dinner party for Dawn's colleagues. She's dressed in a white silk organza dress with colorful polka dots, also known as the sad clown dress. On her Instagram account, Mad Men's costume designer Janie Bryant explains the name. The colors of the dots are very in tune with Betty's color palette, but the dots themselves remind me of vintage clown costumes you would see at the circus back in the day. It goes through the transition of being very bright and presentable to becoming this dress she's wearing for days. It gets increasingly more wrinkled as she falls into pieces. And that's exactly what happens. Betty gets publicly embarrassed and humiliated by Dawn one too many times. When she mentions Heineken beer on the menu, everyone's amused as Heineken is a client of Sterling Cooper and Dawn has been trying to convince his co-workers that housewives are their target market. That makes Betty feel stupid and her distress is evident. I think that this scene tends to be misunderstood and Betty's behavior often gets labeled as an overreaction. However, this is just the final nail in the coffin. She's fed up with Dawn's affairs, him constantly lying and gaslighting her. She believed that they had reached an unspoken agreement that Dawn's infidelity would stop, yet she discovers he's still cheating on her in such an obvious way that even the husband of his mistress was aware of it. As the episode progresses, Betty's appearance deteriorates. Her lovely dress becomes more and more wrinkled as she sleeps in it and keeps wearing it for days. When she eventually changes, she puts on an unironed shirt. We see her barefaced and disheveled for the first time in the show. That's a stark difference from her usual pristine and put together looks. But she's just too heartbroken to care about her appearance. Throughout the course of the show, Peggy Olson goes through the biggest transformation and her style evolution is a clear indicator of her personal growth. We meet Peggy on her first day at Sterling Cooper as John shows her around the office. Right off the bat, we can tell that Peggy is sweet, naive, and highly impressionable. John tells her,
Also, men love scarves.
and the next day, Peggy arrives at work wearing one. A bottle of Shalimar can be spotted on her vanity table, likely influenced by Joan's perfume preference.
Shalimar? Too much?
As season 1 progresses, Peggy realizes that unlike Joan and other secretaries at Sterling Cooper, her ambition in life isn't finding a husband but building a career of her own. Rather than becoming a housewife and a mother, she wants to prioritize her own dreams of becoming a copywriter.
I'm the first girl to do any writing in this office since the war.
As she climbs the corporate ladder and proves to everyone she can do her job even better than her male co-workers, she starts to dress more confidently.
I'm Peggy Olson, and I want to smoke some marijuana.
Her color palette shifts from dull pastels, especially yellow and chartreuse, to more vivid colors. She ditches her dowdy Peter Pan color shirts in favor of stylish coordinated sets and fashionable A-line dresses. The only thing that is consistent in her wardrobe is the plaid pattern. Almost from day one until that iconic badass moment in season 7, we see Peggy dressed in various iterations of plaid. This is a lovely detail as it signals that Peggy is still the same person. She grows, evolves, and matures, yet she never loses her identity to this glamorous world of advertising.
I don't think anyone wants to be one of 100 colors in a box.
One of the most memorable Peggy's plaid looks is this 50s pink dress from the 4th episode of season 2. After Peggy gives birth to Pete Campbell's son, the tension between Peggy and her deeply Catholic older sister Anita arises. Peggy and Anita's mother clearly favors her younger daughter and is more proud of her accomplishments,
Peggy works in Manhattan. She comes up with the words in advertisements.
and seems to have forgiven Peggy for having a baby out of wedlock, which is something Anita can't seem to do. So when the charming young priest, Father Gill, starts to take an interest in Peggy, and Peggy starts to take an interest in partaking in Sunday Mass every week, Anita is fueled with resentment. In an act of jealousy and anger, she sabotages their short-lived friendship by revealing Peggy's secret to the priest. On Easter Sunday, Peggy comes to church dressed in this adorable pink and light brown fit and flare dress, matched with a floral hat and white gloves. This is the girliest outfit we've seen her thus far, making her look so youthful, like a fresh flower blooming. Jenny Bryant called this look a beautiful disguise. Peggy might look sweet and innocent, but this is definitely not how Father Gill, her sister Anita, and most importantly society saw her.
For the little one.
The costume design in Mad Men serves as a powerful storytelling tool. The series masterfully weaves social commentary into the fabric of its characters' wardrobe, adding depth and insight into the complex world of the 1960s America. In the next video of my Mad Men series, I'm going to delve into Jane's style and her transformation from being a secretary to the wife of rich and powerful Roger Sterling, analyze the significance of Joan's pen necklace, and tell you what Betty and Trudy have in common. Please don't forget to like this video and follow me on Instagram if you're curious about my personal fashion style. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Bye!
Don't concern yourself with aesthetics. You'll get a headache.